What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome in week 8 edition Sunday Sideline Report here on the Sports Insanity Network YouTube page. Mike, Dan with you. Dan, how are you, buddy?
Hey, um, just either preparing for relief this weekend or post-mortem for the Jets.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's gonna be relief, but we could totally dive into the Jet game in a little bit as well.
Yeah.
First, before we dive into anything, shout out the old ops guy. We
Mhm.
know what you're prepping for. Just know we're with you every step of the way.
I
Also,
already missed Mark.
yeah,
I want to hear him talk about how terrible the Cowboys are. Like, so I just
get
I
those texts later.
in case please old ops guy, please take care of yourself. Be safe. We love you. And when you come back, you'll be better than ever. And we'll talk Mets in the start of the season. You know?
Yeah, because you certainly won't be talking about the Cowboys. Oh, ho, ho.
It's
All
okay,
right.
Mark. I won't be talking about the Yankees either. So it's like, you know,
That's true. That's true.
in any case. Okay. Sunday
Shout out Aaron
Sunday.
Boone for being a great manager.
Oh God. Oh, batter up at some point. I don't know when,
We will
but
do a World Series recap for sure. All
yeah.
right.
Okay. Sunday sideline week 8.
Week 8. I can't believe we're at week 8.
Crazy.
All right, but let's dive on. And last week we started this show talking about a couple of trades. The Jets acquiring Devontae Adams, the Bills acquiring Amari Cooper. There's another team in the AFC who had a need at the wide receiver position, and they made the move. The Kansas City Chiefs agreed to a trade with the Tennessee Titans that sent DeAndre Hopkins to Kansas City in exchange for a fifth round pick that could turn into a fourth round pick. That's probably if the Chiefs get to the Super Bowl and Hopkins plays probably half the snaps or something. Hopkins on the year for Tennessee, 15 receptions for 173 yards, excuse me, and a touchdown. All right, Dan, your thoughts on D Hop to Kansas City?
So, um, look, it's just a reminder how bad Tennessee is,
It's true.
and two, how desperate Kansas City is. No one is talking about the fact that Kansas City, along with a lot of the teams across the NFL, either have lost players or, the players are underperforming so badly that they need someone to perform. So here it is. Here's D Hop. He's in Kansas City because the receiving corps is banged up and they have nobody. But yet, it's amazing how many people they could lose or how many people cannot play, but yet they still find ways to win. Like it's mesmerizing.
They're undefeated, and Patrick Mahomes has more picks than touchdowns.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like Mahomes is not helping himself either. You know, and he can make all the excuses he wants. He has not had a good season.
And I don't think he hasn't made any excuses. Let's
You know,
be honest about that. But
but at some point, the even the non-excuses are going to become excuses. Like it's just bad play because
right,
if he continues to keep playing bad, like I gotta be better. Like, come on now.
that's my favorite response from an athlete when they're not playing. I got to be better. Well, thank you for noticing the same things we notice.
Exactly.
But I'll say this because this team, as they look to three-peat, they need a couple of things. One, you're right. Rasheed Rice being down for the year hurts. Juju at the moment's down, so that they really needed a guy to pair up with Xavier Worthy, who's had a decent rookie year. I think DeAndre Hopkins helps them in multiple facets. One, I think he's going to help open up Travis Kelce.
Yes.
You know, because you can use D Hop in the middle of the field, and most of the time you're going to want to take him away, double team him. That'll open up Travis Kelce in the middle of the field. He's a good blocker in the run game, so he'll help there. And he'll become a huge threat in the red zone, which is also where you're going to open up Travis Kelce. So I think this deal does a couple of things for Kansas City. It shows you're all in, which we all knew the Chiefs were going to make. They had to make a move. This opens up Travis Kelce, who needs to start being more utilized in this offense. And three, it's going to help the running game, which has been really solid even since Kareem Hunt took over in when Pacheco went down. So the beneficiary for the Chiefs, Hopkins should be in uniform today as the Chiefs take on the Raiders in Vegas in a divisional matchup. So we got that going for us. Then we had Thursday night football because we had rumors swirling heading into this game on what happens with the Rams if they lost this game, but they beat the Vikings 30-20. Matthew Stafford 25 of 34 for 279 yards, 4 touchdowns. The return of both Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp very beneficial. Nacua went over 100 yards on 7 receptions.
Yeah. Well, it was better for him than certainly I thought it would be.
Yeah.
So obviously that's a major win.
Yeah, and Kupp 5 for 50 and a touchdown. Demarcus Robinson had 2 touchdowns for the Rams. For the Vikings, your guy Sam Darnold threw for 240 and 2 touchdowns. In the Vikings' second consecutive loss after they lost to Detroit last week.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that win on Thursday night eliminates any talks of Cooper Kupp or Stafford getting dealt now because the Rams are 3-4 and they're only one game behind the Seattle Seahawks, whom they actually play next week, if I'm correct. Yep. The Rams will be in Seattle next week. That'll be a 4:25 kickoff. Ooh. Colts Vikings is the Sunday night game next week. I did not know that. But Dan, your thoughts on the Thursday night game?
So the game, well, I was watching back and I mean I was working night shift that night. I was working
Oh,
work. What I'll say is that a lot of mistakes with the Vikings, a lot of penalties, a lot of missed opportunities. Darnold was not that good. Um, I think the Rams had a game plan that was very interesting and very effective. They came at them, very aggressive, and kudos to McVay, the head coach, for not, you know, caving into any of the storylines and having this team ready to play on a short week. And we talked about. I mentioned this with Bill. We talked about how teams going into the next week after they play the Lions, they're 0-4. Well, the Vikings followed that trend,
mm-hmm.
and the Vikings were shot. Like you can tell that they were not the same. Not necessarily, you know, not necessarily because of the Rams playing well, but because the fact that they had a close game against Detroit. They had a really excruciating, a terrible loss, but it was a tough one to swallow. And then they had to play on a short week. So those are all factors into it.
Yeah.
Obviously, you give the Rams credit for being ready to play, but you also got to factor in, hey, look the circumstances that the Vikings had to deal with. It's tough for any team. It's really tough for any team to just pick up everything and come back after a big loss against a divisional opponent.
Yeah. Look, I'm not really concerned about the Vikings. Darnold was fine. I'm not gonna blame him at all. Aaron Jones was fine. Jefferson, we know how great he is. The offensive line might be an issue now, especially with the Christian Darrisaw injury, which should never have happened because all Kevin O'Connell should have done, because it took place late in the second quarter, have Sam Darnold take a knee, go into halftime. But because you ran a play, you got your left tackle injured, and according to reports, it's an ACL issue, MCL as well. He's done for the year. And this is a guy you just paid a lot of money to. So that's going to be something to monitor for the Vikings going forward. The defense, listen, Matthew Stafford's a future Hall of Famer. He could light anybody up. And he just needed his guys back. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. This is a different offense
Yeah.
when those guys are healthy because they are both legit. You add that to Kyron Williams, who's been a stud, and he finds the end zone every game. Eventually, the Rams are going to get their offensive line back too.
Yeah.
Now, all of a sudden, you add that in with that young defense that is pretty good, playing pretty well.
Yeah.
The Rams become a major factor here in the NFC, and it's one that I don't think a lot of people saw coming,
Yeah.
just based on how they were playing.
Yeah, it's amazing how all the red zone issues that Mike LaFleur was having with Matt Stafford and everything. It's amazing how it just goes away when your best players come back, right?
Yeah. You get healthy.
You know,
Oh,
I think the Rams are in a very interesting spot. The season is still fairly young for them.
mm,
Oh, and they got to win over a major NFC opponent. So, I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs, but they certainly could make things very interesting. And NFC, just like the AFC, I've been saying this all season, they are underperforming across the league. Everybody is underperforming across the league. There is no runaway anywhere. So they can make things really interesting.
well, yeah, it's a great point because look at their division as a whole first. Like Seattle's 4-3. They're going to play the Bills today. We'll get into that game later.
Mhm.
But Seattle all of a sudden goes to 4-4. All of a sudden, if you're the Rams, you're a win away next week from overtaking them and going in the first place.
Right.
You know, Atlanta plays Tampa Bay again, a game we'll talk about later. Loser of that goes to 4-4. Although wild card implications here if you're the Rams. The NFC East, look, Philly's playing Cincinnati, Washington's playing Chicago. There are wild card implications everywhere if you're a Rams fan today. And who knows? The NFC West is still alive and well too. So the Rams are healthy. That should squash any Cooper Kupp rumors too on him getting traded.
Yeah, I don't know why that's even a thing. Like, I mean, Jesus Christ.
Uh, yeah, I got really I had no idea, and then I started hearing some things Tuesday, and I was like, why are the Rams just going to do this when they got a game Thursday? They go out and they win the game Thursday. And now I think that squashes anything. Now things could change between now and November 5th, which is also election day. Go out and vote
Yeah.
and vote for Pedro. But yeah, it just doesn't make sense if you're the Rams at the moment.
Right.
So the Rams go to 3-4, the Vikings 5-2. And as Dan mentioned, that it's a good win against a quality opponent if you're the Rams. So we got some other stuff we'll dive into today because today also marks the return of Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, who returns after missing the last 4 games after suffering yet another concussion in week 2 against the Bills. There's been a lot of debate on what should happen next. According to Tua and the Dolphins, there was no real reported issues with said concussion, like no massive effects is what I'm going to use as the term. But Tua returns today as the Dolphins look to reshape their season at 2-4. And as much as I am against playing him as a Dolphin fan, they need him because the quarterback play this team has had since he went down has been downright brutal. It doesn't matter if it was Tyler Huntley, and God forbid, I did not want to see Tim Boyle start a game, especially after what he did on Black Friday last year for Dan's beloved Jets against the Dolphins. So this team needed Tua back in the worst way, or they needed to go out and find a quarterback. But I'm not going to lie to you. If I'm a Dolphin fan today, I am massively opposed to playing him just because of his long-term health. I don't want to see him lying on the ground today looking up. So
But he makes your team so much better,
he
Mike.
does. He
Come
does.
on now. A few things I learned about the Dolphins in Tua's absence. Because how much of the team from last year was still there? Just curious.
Offensively, it's the bulk.
So one thing I learned was Mike McDaniel is an overrated head coach. I don't like McDaniel. I really don't. Because he proved to me that if he's such a great coach, he just proved to me that he's not. Because if Tua makes that team look like a playoff team, and then no other quarterback can do the same, it's a problem. That's a big problem. Now, look, the quarterback, the backup quarterback, terrible. You know, I would never endorse any of those backups. But still, like, you know, with the talent that you have, and according with the coaching that you have, right? You
Mhm.
should be able to at least be somewhat competitive.
They've been competitive. They just can't find a way to win some of these games.
Exactly. So yeah, it's a shame, but good for Tua. He's back. Um, I I am concerned about him playing, but look, if he wants to play, he's gonna play.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
what
It's
can
his
you do?
decision.
What can you do?
It's his decision. You're 100% right. The thing I'm going to just say off of the McDaniel comment, and look, I don't dislike McDaniel, but I think this also speaks to the importance of having a legitimate backup quarterback, especially with a guy who, and I hate using the term, but injury prone as Tua is.
Yeah. What was the
which is
truth?
why I will not understand why they cut Mike White
Hmm.
over the offseason. I know it saved you some money, but damn.
Well, what was it? Tim Boyle and
Tim Boyle and
Tyler
Tyler
Thompson,
Huntley. And I
Tyler
mean,
Huntley, whatever his name is.
you were better off asking Dan Marino to come down and play like he does in
Mhm.
those commercials.
Yeah, poorly, right? He's a statue.
Listen, I that the way this offense is high without Tua was 17 points, 15 points. You're not going to win many games like that, scoring that few points. By the way, the only win you got was against the New England Patriots.
Right.
And we know how bad they are because they also had a chance to win that game. So Tua comes back. The Dolphins play the Cardinals today. The Cardinals are at 3-4. Yeah, Cardinals are at 3-4. So two ends there. Very interesting quarterback matchup between Tua and Kyler Murray. The first time the two matched up a couple of years ago, great game. Dolphins wound up winning in the desert. So this should be fun stuff down in Miami. Um, did you want to get into Jets Patriots a little bit?
I mean, sure.
Yeah, us dive on in because you said it's make or break.
No, you have to understand. People need to understand when I say that it's the truth.
Oh, I agree with you.
The New York Yankees, New York
They have
Jets,
other issues too.
the Yankees had a lot of issues. No, the Jets, if they get to 6 losses in week 8, you can count them out. While yes, it's not necessarily impossible. We've seen crazy things happen in the NFL. How can you be confident after losing to the Patriots? The Patriots are on like what, a 6 game losing streak? Like, come on now. Let's kick their ass and get your confidence back up. We have a full week with Devontae.
You're
Yeah.
right. The Patriots won week 1 and they've lost every game since.
Yeah. So, you know, full week with Devontae. Finally got Hassan Reddick back. He's a fucking idiot. But we're glad we got him. So whatever. You know, let's go out there. Hopefully, Aaron Rodgers. He's been playing well lately. He has been bad. The team just sucks. So let's get Devontae cooking. Let's get Mike Williams cooking. Mike Williams is gonna be huge because apparently no Lazard today. So and Lazard's been a major target for Rodgers. So you
Which
have
means
Devontae,
Devontae's
who's
going to wind
probably
up
gonna
with
get the
20.
bulk. You can get Devontae, give him the bulk of the passing. Garrett Wilson, if he's free. Garrett Wilson's been good too of late. Get Mike Williams involved in some way, shape, or form. And then can the defense wake up? This defense, man, we're losing sight of them.
Yeah.
They can't. The pass rushing stinks. Hopefully that improves with Reddick, but I don't know by how much. Pass rushing's been terrible. Um,
Run defense has been awful.
Run defense been bad. The secondary was banged up last week against Pittsburgh. They get a lot of those players back. Michael Carter, DJ Reed, they're all coming back. So that's going to be huge for them. Let's hope that the secondary wakes up. And can Sauce Gardner actually make a big play? And by big play, I'm talking interception and you run it back for a pick six. Can he do that today against his crummy Patriots team?
Can you just hold on to the ball?
You know, no more this pass breakup BS. I'm tired of that. Make a impact play on defense. And this defensive line, man, they look terrible. They look bad. I don't know where Quincy Williams is. I don't know where Quentin Williams is. CJ Mosley's old as F, you know, all this stuff. Let's go out there. Let's kick the Patriots' ass like they did on Thursday night in week 3. And let's actually try to attempt to, as I say, attempt to make a season out of this. Because the schedule softens up for them. Attack. It
Well,
softens.
go ahead.
And then of course the Patriots. I'm impressed with Drake May. Like, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm actually impressed. And look, I know there was a lot of concern with, hey, look, we don't necessarily have the offensive line that's gonna protect him. I think he's doing just fine.
Mhm.
Look, you're gonna eventually get there with the offensive line. You're gonna eventually get there with the. You're gonna get more wide receiver, big time wide receivers, and all that stuff. You're eventually gonna get that. Get his feet wet.
Oh yeah. I was also concerned because I didn't think they'd have the weapons, but you know what? He's played well. Here's the other thing though that I would look out for the Jets. Gerard Mayo after the game last week called his team soft.
Mhm.
If he uses that could be motivation for this football team. And look, the Jets need to win this game. The, there's no doubt in my mind they have to win this game. I think they will win this game because if you lose this game, you said it's basically season over at 2-6. I would go a step further. You have to reset a lot of things at 2-6. I'd even you could revisit the Hassan Reddick trade stuff if you wanted to.
Mhm.
What the hell's going on with what the hell do you do with Rodgers? And this is going to be if they lose this football game, someone's head is going to roll, and the only person whose head won't roll is Robert Saleh
Yeah.
because
Well,
the scapegoat is gone.
he's chilling in Green Bay right
He's
now. He's
chilling in Green Bay,
the offensive consultant.
which is really weird because he's a defensive
Well,
coach.
no, it's because the way he's gonna coach is by analyzing how teams are gonna defend the offense.
Mm. I'll say this: I think it's a great job by Green Bay.
Yeah,
I think it's a great job by him. I'm getting
and
paid by the Jets just to hang out in Green Bay.
yeah, exactly. Well, I think he's getting paid by Green Bay as well. I don't know how much, but it helps. It
It's
helps with the,
something.
in any case.
Yeah.
I'm just sick and tired of this franchise with the shortcomings.
The other thing is this: how many bad memories do you have as a Jet fan coming from playing against the Patriots?
It's a more than a handful, more than two handfuls.
Right. So this is a team that the fan base needs you to decimate.
Mhm.
You did it in week 3 at home on a Thursday night. Do it in their house.
No.
Go into New England, punch them in the face, and come home a 3-5 football team and get ready for a Halloween showdown with the Houston Texans.
Yeah. Which might be easier than we think. So if you can just get to Houston with 3 wins, like I think we'll be okay.
All right,
I
so
think we'll be okay.
argument's sake, let's just play with the schedule here a little bit. They play New England today. You know, we both think they'll win this game. Then they play Houston. Then's the bye week, it looks like. Yeah. Then they go to Arizona, Indianapolis, uh, then Seattle, the Dolphins for the first time, Jacksonville, the Rams, the Bills, and then the Dolphins again is how they close out the year. So
I see
getting
at
this
least
third win,
one guarantee loss, probably the Bills game. I think that's a guarantee loss. I don't trust the Jets against the Bills anymore.
I look at it the other way. I think the only guaranteed win is Jacksonville. Because if the Rams are healthy, we just talked about how good they could be. Seattle, to be determined on what they are. The Dolphins, we talked about them with Tua. It's not a guarantee they win those games, but they could easily split those. So, all right. So the Jets go into New England today, looking for their third win. New England's looking to right the ship, looking for their first win since week one. Some other games to look at. We excuse me. We got the Eagles going into Cincinnati to play the Bengals. Bengals with a win will get to 500. Philly, I'm going to pump the brakes on you for a minute, though.
Mm-hmm.
Got a great win last week over the New York Giants.
Much needed win.
Much needed, but here's the problem. The Bengals are better than the Giants. And Joe Burrow is not Daniel Jones.
The record, I'm telling you, the record the Cincinnati Bengals have, it's not a reflection of the team. The team is very good.
The game that hurts them is that Baltimore game because they should have won that game.
I know.
And they found a way to lose. So, but I mean, think about the talent on this, just on the offensive side. Burrow and Hurts, you got Chase and Higgins on one side, AJ Brown and Devontae Smith on the other side. Oh yeah, and then the Eagles have this Saquon Barkley guy who should be in the MVP conversation right about now.
Right.
But man, that should be a fun one.
Go Bengals.
I can live with that one. Go Bengals.
I'm sorry. Philly's overrated, man.
I don't disagree with you.
I don't trust them. I don't trust the head coach.
No, I really don't trust the head coach.
I don't trust the quarterback anymore either. Like, how could you?
My thing on the quarterback is this, and I like Jalen Hurts. When they jumped away from the zone read, that really hampers this offense because I think Jalen Hurts' legs should be a major part to this offense, not just the tush push or a 4th and 1 sneak or whatever. Let him run more. And let me be honest with you. I'm usually against the quarterback run game just because I get fearful of what happened to Dak Prescott years ago, where he got hurt in the turf in Dallas against the Giants. But Jalen Hurts has always been a mobile quarterback. Utilize the zone read, especially with Saquon. That's just me. But I'm with you. I don't trust the head coach either. I think the head coach is an arrogant prick, if I'm being honest with you.
He's one that if you look at the face, you want to punch him. That's
what exactly. Him and his dumb arguments with the fans in the stands is dumb. Bringing your kids to a press conference so people don't really question what you're doing. Get over yourself, bro. Come on. You got a job that only 31 other people have. Be professional.
See, I think the Philly media, they're tough. They're very tough. But I think they're softer. Because if this were New York,
he'd be ripped to shreds.
They don't give a shit. Especially in the Jet locker room. In the Jets media, that Jet press corps, they do not care. They will rip you to shreds.
Yeah. By the way, Hassan Reddick, if you don't show up today and do anything, they're gonna rip you. So yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. So you get to bet the Bengals and the Eagles. We got first place on the line in the NFC South with the Falcons and the Bucks.
Mhm.
Listen, I, Baker's had a great year. I just don't know who he's throwing the ball to today. No
Well,
Evans, no Godwin.
I mean, on SIP, I was pretty shocked that Billy Boy chose the Bucks. And
Mm.
I'm just like, okay, that's cool. But right now I trust Atlanta more because of the fact that they just have more available than Tampa Bay does. Don't get me wrong. I think Baker Mayfield is a lot better than a lot of people think. And I also think that he can get away with not having so many weapons because he's already done that this season. But I don't with too many people out. I don't know. I think Atlanta is probably in better shape to win this game.
I do too.
Now I may get egg on my face later, but
And the way Atlanta played the first time with Kirk Cousins throwing the ball all over the yard in Atlanta, he threw for 500 over 500 yards, and he had London go over for over 100. He had Darnell Mooney go for over 100 yards. This Atlanta team, they're another one. Like they're on the preface of something with how well Kirk Cousins has played. They can run the ball effectively with Bijan Robinson, and then that defense is playing better. They got an elite secondary. They do a number of things really well. So I'm with you. I like Atlanta too. And I think Atlanta, you win this game. Tampa Bay's the only team in this division that's a threat to you. New Orleans stinks, and Carolina is worse than stinks.
yeah. But I think the pressure is really more on Kirk. Because I think the Bucks are in a good spot no matter what.
Mhm.
But I need to see a little more out of this Atlanta team. I need them to not necessarily prove, because they certainly proved that they could be a winner, but see if you can, take advantage and actually put yourself in a better position in that division to win it.
Yeah. But speaking of the Panthers, they're going to go to Bryce Young today. Andy Dalton was involved in a car accident with his
And poor Shane.
family earlier in the week, but he hurt I believe it was his thumb. But everyone else is okay. So
Yeah,
thank,
well, we
thankful.
will hope it's okay. I mean, this is a little Bryce Young. We've seen enough of him.
I
But there's another opportunity, right? To go out there and prove to people, hey, look, I'm not a bust. Go out there and
go
do
out
what
and
you
prove
can.
it.
It's a really tough ask to do because the Panthers are terrible. They're not good.
And they're going to a Denver team that Denver with a win today will be 5-3.
Yeah, let's be honest about the Broncos. I think the Broncos are a lot better than a lot of people think. And even myself, like I went to that, I looked at that Broncos Jet game. It was terrible for the Jets. The Jets, I thought should have won the game, and I still think they should have won the game. But like since the Jet game, like they've rattled off some pretty good wins. So I really think the Broncos they have something. It may not be much, but they definitely have something going on there that is giving some signs of hope for them.
Well, here's the sign of hope. Sean Payton.
Yeah.
Sean Payton, a really good defense, and Bo Nix isn't turning the football over at a big time pace, which they kind of remind me of the Mark Sanchez Jets his rookie year.
Mm-hmm.
Be a game manager. Don't turn the ball over.
Yeah,
Our defense is going to do its job and we'll win some games. They win, they're 5-3, and they're in the thick of things in the AFC.
exactly. Defensively, Sertan cleared concussion protocol.
Oh, oh boy. Carolina receivers, look out. Lockdown.
So that's huge. That is a huge get for Denver.
Here's the thing. I can't believe that Denver's going to be 5-3 after this week, and I can't believe Pittsburgh could be 6-2. They play the Giants tomorrow night. I mean, and I don't think either one's that great. They're good, but I wouldn't call them great. But man,
Right.
so those are some other games. Let's see. We got the Colts and the Texans in the AFC South going at it. Texans need a rebound after that loss in Green Bay last week. The Colts got to win over the Dolphins. Uh, these two teams played a great game in week one that the Texans wound up winning. So see what happens there. But I there's something about this Texan team that makes you think every time you question them, they're gonna get back up.
Yeah.
So there's that. Um, we got Ravens, Browns, and Cleveland. First game for the Browns without Deshaun Watson after he tore his Achilles last week. Jameis Winston gets the start against Baltimore. And speaking of Baltimore, how well's Lamar played again?
He's a beast, dude.
But Monday night, he was phenomenal.
Beast. And I thought that Tampa Bay had an edge for a little bit. Lamar went off. And that just goes to show you, man, that this Ravens team, they're always prepared no matter what. Man.
Yeah.
Um, I kind of feel bad for Jameis Winston being put in a really tough spot. You know, take this crummy Browns team and try to beat the Ravens. Like it's not like that never a good way to enter a season, you know?
Oh, yeah. Poor Jameis.
Yeah. You saw his impassioned speech after the Deshaun injury.
Yeah. I saw all the Browns, kind of rally around it, and it's kind of like, all right. Uh, we understand that the fans shouldn't boo a guy after he got hurt, but you know, when you sign for $238 million fully guaranteed, and you play as poorly as Deshaun Watson has played,
Yeah.
you shouldn't boo the injury, just boo the play. But
Yeah.
uh,
By the way, sending love to Browns country. They lost their longtime radio announcer, Jim Donovan,
mm,
to cancer. He'd been battling cancer for many years. Um, so sending our love to everyone in Cleveland. Not only was he a radio broadcaster for the Browns, he was also a sports anchor there too. So, sending love over to everyone over at Cleveland. Must be a really rough day for them. So,
yeah.
just wanted to give them.
Our condolences to you,
Yeah.
Cleveland. All right, so we got that. Uh, we got the Bills and the Seahawks in Seattle today. Huge game.
This is gonna be tough
Even
for the
for the
Bills.
Seahawks too,
This is gonna be tough for the Bills, though.
going into Seattle.
I like Seattle's chances better than I do the Bills here.
Mm.
I'm not impressed with the Bills. I'm not. I look, they're a good team, but I just don't think that they're as good as they think they are, and I think they've gotten away with a lot in their schedule. I didn't like how they played Baltimore.
No,
I didn't like how they played Houston. And let's be honest, I didn't like how they played the Jets. You know, in the second half, you know how many in that Jet game, you know how many points they scored in the second half? They scored three.
three.
They scored 3 points. The 3 points won them the game, but they scored 3 points. So I think the Bills right now that they ran into a really good, sorry, a really bad Tennessee Titans team. That's
Yeah.
a massive free fall.
And by the way, they fell behind early in that game.
Yeah. And now it was sloppy. It was pretty sloppy. Penalties, drop passes, you name it, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I think the Bills, they're gonna have a really tough time against Seattle. Could they beat Seattle? Of course they could beat Seattle. But I don't trust it. I don't trust it. And right now, look, Seattle looks pretty good. They've been looking pretty good over the last week or so.
Got a
And
big win in Atlanta last week.
exactly, and I like the chances better for Seattle. Now, of course, like I said, it's the NFL. It's a week by week case. It's never a given. Seattle could absolutely, you know what, the bad, and then it doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, we don't know the status of DK Metcalf either. He banged up his knee a little bit last week. But you're right. But also, that is such a tough place to play,
Mhm.
Seattle. Even when they weren't good, it was always hard to go there because of the crowd and this. So you have to see how the Bills play there. So see what happens. So we got that. Talked a little bit about Chiefs Raiders earlier with the DeAndre Hopkins stuff. And then tonight, in honor of the old Ox guy tonight, we got the Cowboys and the 49ers on Sunday night and a battle of two teams that are extremely banged up, especially the Niners.
I hate Dallas. I don't. I don't like them. Obviously, I don't like the franchise. I love Jerry Jones, but it's like this team specifically makes me want to puke. Mike,
Listen,
they're bad.
I'm not against you at all on that. Here's my issue. They have the star on their helmet. They have the star at midfield at AT&T Stadium. They should erase the star,
Hmm.
and they should just put a picture of Jerry Jones on the helmet and at midfield, because this is what this has become. This team is a sideshow, and Jerry Jones is the only owner I know that gets talked to after a game. He goes on the radio every week. He gets asked all these different questions. He gets snippy with the radio guys. Jerry has to let the other things get control. And I wish he would take a little bit of a step back. But Jerry, this is on you. You're the owner. You're the general manager. You call the shots. You want to know why you're a 3-3 football team? Because you're not that good.
Hmm.
You're not that good. And honestly, I feel bad for Dak Prescott because Dak Prescott is working with one and a half wide receivers when we're talking about CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson, because I don't trust Jalen Tolbert or any of these other dudes. Your defense has been terrible all year.
Yeah.
There's no Micah Parsons again tonight. There's no DeMarcus Lawrence again tonight. The saving grace you get tonight is San Francisco might be more banged up than you. There's no
Mhm.
Brandon Ayuk. There's no Juwan Jennings. There's no Christian McCaffrey. There's no. They may ask Jerry Rice to play receiver tonight. Who the hell knows?
Look, and like I said, I love Jerry Jones, but you're right. I mean, look, he put this on himself, and right now it looks bad for everybody. It looks bad for the head coach. It looks bad for the quarterback. It looks bad for the defense.
Yeah.
But the thing that I don't like about this Dallas team is that they make the dumbest excuses on the planet
Yeah.
for their play. And that's everybody. It's
Yeah.
the owner, it's the head coach, it's the quarterback. They always make the dumbest excuses rather than just owning up to it and finding ways to play better.
And listen, I felt bad for Mike McCarthy coming into this year as a lame duck. Because if you're going to be asked, if Jerry's going to be asked every week on the status of the head coach, he should have just fired him after the Green Bay game last year in the playoffs.
Yep.
Now Mike McCarthy's got to look over his shoulder every week and make sure he's still employed. This team is so disorganized and they are so undisciplined and they have so many issues that the reason it's part of the reason you're a 3-3 football team. The other reason is, like you said, you're just not that good enough. But you've known you haven't been good enough the last 3 years when you've won 12 games and you lose in the playoffs. And here's the thing: you play San Francisco tonight. Excuse me. Talked about how banged up they are. You go to Atlanta next week. That's not a layup. Then you play Philly. That's not a layup. You play the Texans. Sure as hell ain't a layup. Oh, then you play the Washington Commanders. Oh, let me phrase it better. The first place Washington Commanders.
Mhm.
Like the only layup on your schedule coming up is the giant game on Thanksgiving. But the way you're playing, I don't know if that's a layup.
Well, they can put in Drew Lock and it wouldn't even matter. You know?
They can bring Eli out of retirement for Pete's sake.
And it wouldn't even matter
It
either.
wouldn't matter. So if you don't win this game tonight, Dallas, against this Niner team that is extremely banged up, we're going to need to have a real conversation. Not just about the head coach,
Mhm.
not just about the quarterback, but about the owner and general manager. And he won't fire himself, but
Mhm.
I can fire him for you, Dallas,
Yeah.
as the general manager.
I think Dallas is in. I'm not going to go as far as saying crisis mode, but the sense of urgency needs to go up
Needed. It's needed.
now. And I'll be shocked if they come out flat again. Like if they come out flat, then you have to really consider firing McCarthy
Well,
because that's a coaching issue for sure.
here's the thing. I don't think they come out flat because they're on the road. They come out flat more at home than they do on the road,
Yeah.
which makes zero sense.
I don't get that either. Um, yeah, a lot of issues in Dallas that I just that right now you can't defend it. You cannot
No,
defend it.
can't.
And what a shame. What a shame. Good fan base and they're getting crappy play.
Haven't been to an
From
NFC title game since
yeah.
Troy Aikman was the
And,
quarterback.
and that's another thing, like the drought of not going a playoff drought is one thing. That's Jets have, but the drought of not getting back to a Super Bowl is staggering.
And you're the Dallas freaking Cowboys.
Staggering.
Oh,
For a good franchise like the Dallas Cowboys. Staggering.
oh man.
For the Niners, I mean, I don't know. I kind of have a soft spot for Kyle Shanahan
Oh, I do too.
because I know for him it's tough because he's never experienced what it was like to have a team that's so banged up and so out of whack, so out of place. Like I don't know what to feel for it. I just feel bad. Like I hope they improve sooner rather than later. I think it's gonna be later because the more the season just goes, the more they get hurt and it just sucks. It's bad.
Yeah, no Ayuk for the rest of the year. No Jawan Jennings tonight. No McCaffrey tonight. The list goes on and on for them, and they are just they are the walking wounded this year. Or maybe it's because I picked them to go to the Super Bowl again. I don't know. If that's the reason, San Francisco, I am sorry, but man, we were on the Cowboys for a minute. Just want to shout out our friends down in Texas, Rudy Campos and Sweep the League.
Mhm.
Check them out every weeknight on their YouTube page. So shout them out. All right, Dan, before we close this out, who will be your fantasy player of the day?
I don't know.
Ooh,
I think I'm leaning more towards Caleb Williams against the Washington Commanders.
which should be a really fun game.
I don't know. They announced Jaden Daniels playing,
He's
not
a
playing.
game time
I
decision.
know he's a game time decision. He's been a game time decision since Friday.
He
Um,
practiced, from what I've read, he practiced yesterday.
so that's
They
good. That's
think
good
he'll
news.
start.
Um, man, I've been waiting for that matchup, and Jaden Daniels is hurt. Like I've been waiting for the matchup all season. Caleb versus Jaden, and
Here we
it may
are.
not it may not happen. I don't know. No, Caleb Williams. Not saying that the Commanders are going to lose that game. I think it's going to be a very competitive game, but I expect Caleb Williams to go off. He's been getting better and better as the weeks have gone on. So I see a good game out of it. I know that Commanders defense, that's a good defense, but let's see.
I'm going to go Jared Goff. The Lions host the Titans. The Lions are great at home, especially Goff.
Mm.
And we talked about it at the top on the DeAndre Hopkins deal. The Titans stink.
They're so bad.
They are sinking quicker than the Titanic.
Mhm.
And so,
No, no, they're in a sinkhole. They're in that sinkhole in The Simpsons.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
you
Uh,
know.
Shout out The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Great show. Oh, so Jared Goff at home against the Titans. I love the matchup. All right, that'll do for the Week 8 edition of Sunday Sideline Report here on the SIN YouTube channel. Follow us on the socials, Twitter, S Insanity Real, Facebook, the Sports Insanity Network. Go to the website, www.thesportsinsanitynetwork.com. Great blogs, vlogs, planes, trains, and automobiles. Or if you're watching this, like, comment, subscribe on the YouTube channel. Ring the bell thing for notifications and, watch great product like this. Look
Mhm.
at my beautiful mug all the time. Uh, Anything else you want to plug, Dan?
um, SIP, we're revamping our show.
Oh,
So we have a surprise for you on the Monday edition. So stay tuned.
is it Patch can see out of both eyes?
I wish.
All right,
We'll take care
everybody.
of a worker.
Enjoy the week 8 edition. Everyone enjoy week 8. That'll do it for us. We'll talk to y'all next week.
Bye.